My dear brother, my dear sister, before you scroll, before you decide this is just another video, I want you to notice something very carefully. Your heart feels calmer lately, not happier, not sadder, just different. And when Allah changes your peace, your life has already started changing, even if nothing around you has moved yet. If this calm feels unfamiliar, this message is not random. Stay with me till the end, because the final part of this message explains what Allah does after this calm, and most people understand it too late. When Allah is about to change your destiny, He first changes what your heart feels safe with. Allah is very kind in how He changes a person. He does not break the heart suddenly. He does not shock the soul without warning. He does not pull the ground from beneath your feet all at once. He prepares you slowly. And the first place He prepares is your sense of comfort. There comes a time when the heart quietly realizes that it no longer belongs where it is standing. Nothing dramatic happens. No argument, no major loss, no visible reason. Yet inside you, something has shifted. You sit in the same place, but your heart is not sitting with you. You speak to the same people, but your soul feels distant. You repeat the same routine, but it feels empty. And you cannot explain why. This is one of the most misunderstood moments in a believer's life. Many people think this feeling means they are ungrateful. They say, Allah has given me so much, why don't I feel peace? They blame themselves. They feel guilty for feeling uncomfortable. But my dear brother, my dear sister, Allah does not punish gratitude with restlessness. This discomfort is not ingratitude, it is awareness. Allah is opening your eyes to something your heart already knows. Sometimes the heart grows before the mind understands. Sometimes the soul outgrows a place long before the body is moved. And Allah allows this feeling so you do not destroy yourself by staying too long. You see, comfort is dangerous when it no longer feeds the soul. A place can be safe, yet no longer be right. A situation can be stable, yet no longer be meant for you. And Allah loves you too much to let you rot in emotional comfort. So He begins with a very gentle signal. He removes the feeling of home from what is no longer your destination. You notice that you are no longer excited by the same things. You notice that conversations feel repetitive. You notice that your heart feels heavy for no clear reason. You are not sad. You are not depressed. You are simply unsettled. And this unsettled feeling is not random. It is divine. Allah knows that if He left your heart comfortable, you would stay forever. You would delay growth. You would delay purpose. You would delay the next chapter of your life. So Allah softly loosens your attachment, not to hurt you, but to free you. He makes you uncomfortable enough to question, but not broken enough to lose hope. He gives you just enough unease to make you search for meaning. This is why the heart begins to whisper, there must be more than this. You may try to force peace back into your heart. You may try to convince yourself to stay. You may remind yourself of all the good memories, but the peace does not return because peace is not missing. It has moved ahead of you. Allah sometimes places peace in the future so you stop clinging to the past. And this is painful because the heart does not like uncertainty. The heart prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar growth. So Allah intervenes gently. He does not say, leave now. He says, let me make you ready first. He makes you feel emotionally uncomfortable so you do not walk into your next destiny with old attachments. Because a heart tied to the past cannot hold a new future. And if Allah were to change your situation without first changing your heart, you would carry confusion into blessing. So He prepares you properly. He teaches your heart how to let go without anger. He teaches your soul how to release without hatred. He teaches you to move forward without bitterness. That is why this stage feels quiet. No signs in the sky, no loud announcements, just a gentle inner shift. You start valuing peace more than approval. You start valuing clarity more than comfort. You start valuing growth more than familiarity. And slowly, very slowly, your heart stops settling for less This is Allah refining you. This is Allah making you emotionally mature. This is Allah saying, my servant, you are ready to grow. And when Allah begins to change destiny, He always starts here inside the heart. When Allah begins this inner shift, He does not rush you. He allows the feeling to stay with you for a while, not to torture you, but to teach you. You begin to notice that even when you try to distract yourself, the feeling returns. You keep yourself busy. You smile, you laugh. But when you are alone, your heart speaks again. It says, this is not it. This cannot be all. And this is where Allah is very gentle. He does not show you the full picture yet. He only shows you that the current picture is incomplete. Because if Allah showed you everything at once, your heart would panic. So He teaches you slowly. You start losing emotional interest in things you once depended on. Not suddenly, not harshly, just quietly. You stop explaining yourself as much. You stop forcing connections. You stop chasing validation. You don't hate people. You don't blame situations. You simply feel done. And many people misunderstand this stage. They think they are becoming cold. They think they are losing love. They think they are changing in a bad way. But my dear brother, my dear sister, you are not becoming cold. You are becoming clear. Allah is removing emotional noise so you can hear guidance. Sometimes Allah makes your heart feel lonely even when you are surrounded by people. Not because you are unloved, but because you are being prepared to walk a path not everyone will understand. Allah knows that certain destinations require solitude before arrival. So He loosens your attachment to crowd comfort. You begin to enjoy silence more. You begin to protect your energy. You begin to feel tired of pretending. And this is not weakness. This is honesty. Allah is teaching you to stop living from the outside in and start living from the inside out. You realize that staying comfortable is now costing you peace. And once peace becomes more valuable than comfort, there is no going back. You may still stay physically where you are, but your heart has already packed its bags. This is one of the most powerful stages of growth because Allah has not yet moved you, but He has already freed you. You are no longer emotionally trapped. You are no longer dependent on outcomes. You are no longer begging life to stay the same. Your heart begins to say, Allah, wherever you take me, I trust you. Even if you don't say it with your tongue, your heart is already practicing it. This is why your reactions change. Things that once hurt deeply now pass more quickly. Things that once scared you now feel manageable. You still feel pain, but it does not control you. You still feel uncertainty, but it does not paralyze you. This is Allah strengthening your inner muscles. He is making you emotionally light so you can move when the time comes, because heavy hearts resist change. Free hearts follow guidance. Sometimes Allah delays the external change because He is perfecting the internal readiness. You may ask Allah, why am I feeling like this for so long? And Allah answers through your heart, because I am teaching you how to leave without breaking. You see, Allah does not want you to escape. He wants you to graduate. Escape carries fear. Graduation carries peace. And that peace you feel slowly growing inside you is not accidental. It is Allah saying, my servant, you are almost ready. Soon the opportunity will come. Soon the door will open. Soon the situation will shift. But when it does, you will not panic. You will not cling. You will not beg. Because Allah already changed your heart. And that is the greatest mercy of all. If your heart no longer feels safe where you are, do not fight it. Do not shame yourself. Do not force peace where Allah has removed it. Trust that Allah never removes comfort unless He plans to replace it with something better. And when the moment comes and destiny finally moves, you will realize something beautiful. Allah was not pushing you away. He was gently leading you forward. Peace leaves what your soul has outgrown. There is a time in life when Allah does not take something away from you. He simply takes the peace away from it. You still have it in your hands. You still see it with your eyes. People may even say you are lucky. Yet inside your heart, the calm is gone. And this confuses many people. They ask themselves, Why do I feel restless when nothing bad has happened? Why does my heart feel tired even though my life looks stable? My dear brother, my dear sister, this is not sadness. This is not ingratitude. This is not weakness. This is growth. Allah created the soul to grow, and when the soul grows, old spaces begin to feel tight. What once fit you perfectly now feels uncomfortable. What once gave you joy now feels heavy. And this does not mean the thing became bad. It means you became bigger. Allah does not want your soul to shrink itself just to remain comfortable. So He removes peace before damage happens. Because staying where your soul has outgrown slowly suffocates the heart. You may try to remind yourself of the good days. You may remember how happy you once were there. You may even try to force gratitude, but the peace does not return. And that is because peace is honest. It does not lie to keep you comfortable. Allah allows peace to leave. So you stop lying to yourself. You see, my dear brother, my dear sister, a soul that has outgrown its place will feel tired no matter how beautiful the surroundings are. You can sit in comfort and still feel restless. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. This is Allah telling you, my servant, this chapter has taught you what it was meant to teach. Allah loves you too much to let you stay in a lesson long after you have learnt it. So He removes peace gently, not to push you into chaos, but to pull you toward purpose. This restlessness is not there to scare you. It is there to wake you. Allah knows that if He left you comfortable, you would delay growth out of fear. Fear of change. Fear of uncertainty. Fear of letting go. So Allah removes peace. So you begin to ask deeper questions. Question like, is this really where I belong? Is this all Allah has for me? Why does my heart feel empty here? These questions are not rebellion. They are signs of awareness. Allah is teaching your soul to recognize when it has outgrown a space. You see, peace is not attached to places. Peace is attached to alignment. When you are aligned with where Allah wants you, peace flows. When you stay where Allah is no longer writing your growth, peace quietly exits. And Allah does this slowly because sudden change would frighten the heart. He wants you to leave with clarity, not panics. So the heart begins to feel heavy before the feet ever move. You may stay physically where you are, but emotionally you begin to detach. Things stop affecting you the same way. You stop caring about certain opinions. You stop forcing yourself to feel excited. This is not coldness. This is maturity. Allah is protecting you from emotional burnout. Because staying too long where your soul has outgrown leads to bitterness, resentment and regret. So Allah removes peace early to protect your softness. This is mercy. This is guidance. This is Allah saying, my servant, do not destroy yourself by staying. When peace leaves something your soul has outgrown, Allah does not expect you to understand it immediately. He allows you to sit with the feeling. At first, you try to ignore it. You tell yourself, maybe I am just tired. Maybe I am overthinking. Maybe this feeling will pass. But it doesn't. It stays quietly in the background, returning whenever you slow down. And this is where Allah is teaching you something important. Not every discomfort needs to be fixed. Some discomfort needs to be listened to. Allah places this feeling in your heart. So you stop running from your own truth. You begin to notice that forcing yourself to stay cheerful is exhausting. Smiling becomes effort. Pretending becomes heavy. You are not unhappy. You are misaligned, and Allah is too merciful to let misalignment turn into bitterness. So He starts pulling your attention inward. You become more reflective. You think more deeply. You question more honestly, not about others, but about yourself. You ask, what is my heart really craving? Why do I feel empty here? What am I afraid to let go of? These questions are painful, but they are healing. Because Allah cannot move you forward until you admit where you are stuck. As peace leaves, clarity slowly enters. You begin to see patterns you ignored before. You begin to notice what drains you. You begin to understand why your heart felt heavy. This understanding does not come with anger. It comes with calm. You stop blaming people. You stop blaming yourself. You simply accept This season has ended. And acceptance is powerful because once the heart accepts, fear loses its grip. You start feeling strangely calm about the idea of change. Not excited, not rushed, just calm. This calm is not because you know what will happen. It is because you trust who is guiding you. Allah does not rush His servants out of places they have outgrown. He waits until the heart is ready. That is why peace leaves early, so that when the door finally opens, you are not clinging to the old one. You walk forward without resentment, without regret, without bitterness. You walk forward with dignity. This is Allah protecting your future heart. You may still feel moments of sadness. You may still feel moments of doubt. But deep inside, you know something has changed. You no longer beg life to stay the same. You no longer fear the unknown the way you used to. You feel lighter. This lightness is not because your problems disappeared. It is because Allah removed the weight of staying where you no longer belong. And when Allah finally moves you, you will realize something beautiful. Peace did not leave to punish you. Peace left to guide you. Peace left to free you. Peace left because your soul had already moved forward. And Allah, in His mercy, allowed your heart to catch up. Allah calms your attachment before He changes your direction. Before Allah changes where you are going, He changes what your heart is holding on to. This is one of the most merciful things Allah does, because sudden change with strong attachment would break the heart. So Allah prepares you gently. You may notice that things you once held tightly are no longer gripping your heart the same way. You still care, but the urgency is gone. You still remember, but the pain is softer. You still want, but you are no longer desperate. And this change can feel strange. You ask yourself, why am I not reacting the way I used to? Why does this not hurt like before? Why does my heart feel calmer? My dear brother, my dear sister, this is not you becoming cold. This is Allah strengthening you. Attachment is heavy, and Allah never loads a heart with destiny until He removes unnecessary weight. You see, attachment is not love. Attachment is fear. Fear of loss, fear of change, fear of the unknown. And Allah knows that a fearful heart cannot walk confidently toward a new direction. So He calms your attachment first. He does not rip it away. He does not shame you for feeling it. He simply softens it. He allows time to pass. He allows understanding to grow. He allows your heart to breathe again. Slowly, you stop begging outcomes. You stop replaying conversations. You stop living inside what if, and you may not even realize it at first. You just notice that you sleep better. You cry less. You feel lighter. This is Allah healing you before moving you. Because moving forward with wounds creates scars. Allah wants growth, not damage. So He teaches your heart how to release without bitterness, how to let go without hatred, how to step forward without dragging the past behind you. This is why Allah calms attachment quietly. If He removed it suddenly, you would resist. So He does it gently until you no longer feel afraid of letting go. You begin to say things like, if it stays, it stays. If it goes, Allah knows best. And these words are not forced anymore. They feel real. This is tawakkul growing inside you. Allah knows that attachment can blind you. It can make you cling to what is familiar, even if it is draining your soul. So Allah loosens your grip, not because what you held was bad, but because holding it too tightly would stop you from walking forward. You may still be physically present, but emotionally you are no longer trapped. You stop needing reassurance. You stop waiting for closure. You stop demanding answers. And this is a powerful shift, because Allah does not guide those who are still begging the past to stay. He guides those who are ready to trust Him. This is why Allah calms your attachment before He changes your direction. Because once your heart is calm, movement becomes easy. There is no panic, no chaos, no regret, only trust. And this stage may feel slow. You may wonder why Allah is taking time, but Allah is not delaying. He is protecting. He is making sure that when the direction changes, your heart does not break in the process. Because a calm heart moves with grace. And Allah loves to guide His servants with mercy. As Allah continues to calm your attachment, you begin to notice something very subtle. Your heart no longer fights reality. Before, you needed things to go a certain way just to feel okay. Now, you feel okay even when things are unclear. This is not numbness. This is freedom. Allah slowly teaches your heart that safety does not come from outcomes. It comes from trusting Him. You may still love deeply. You may still care sincerely. But your happiness is no longer chained to how others respond, what situations become, or when answers arrive. This is a powerful shift because attachment once made you anxious. You checked signs. You waited for messages. You replayed moments in your head. But now your heart rests more easily. Not because you stopped loving, but because Allah taught you where love truly belongs. You start placing your trust where it was always meant to be, with Allah. And when trust moves to Allah, attachment loosens everywhere else. This is why you no longer beg. You ask Allah with hope, but without desperation. You make dua with belief, but without panic. You say, Allah, if this is good for me, keep it. And if it is not, remove it gently. And for the first time, you actually mean it. This is a sign of deep maturity. Allah has trained your heart to accept His wisdom. Even before you understand His plan, you may still feel moments of longing. You may still miss what once was, but the longing no longer controls you. It visits, then it leaves. And peace returns quickly. This is Allah strengthening your inner stability. He knows that the direction He is about to change will require courage. So He removes emotional dependence first, because a heart dependent on people, situations, or outcomes will resist divine guidance. But a heart dependent on Allah moves easily. You begin to trust silence. You begin to accept unanswered prayers as delayed wisdom, not reaction. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is Allah teaching me through this? This question alone changes everything. It shifts you from pain to purpose. You see, Allah does not want you to walk into your next chapter still bleeding from the last one. So He heals attachment. He removes urgency. He replaces fear with calm surrender. By the time the direction finally changes, your heart is already facing forward. There is no shock, no collapse. No emotional chaos, just quiet readiness. You may not know where you are going, but you are no longer afraid of moving. And that is when Allah knows you are ready. Because when the heart is calm, guidance flows naturally. When attachment is healed, direction becomes clear. And you will one day look back and realize Allah did not take things away from you. He took your fear of losing them away first. So that when change came, it felt like mercy, not loss. Allah settles the heart before He shifts the life. Allah is very gentle when He prepares a person for change. He knows that sudden movement can frighten the heart. He knows that unexpected shifts can shake the soul. So before He changes your life on the outside, He settles your heart on the inside. This settling does not always feel like happiness at first. Sometimes it feels like stillness. Sometimes it feels like quiet. Sometimes it feels like emotional slowing. You may notice that your reactions are not as strong as they used to be. Things that once made you panic now make you pause. Things that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. And this surprises you. You ask yourself, why am I calmer even though my situation hasn't changed? Why do I feel less rushed? Why am I not as anxious as before? My dear brother, my dear sister, this is Allah working on your heart. Allah knows that destiny is heavy. New responsibilities are heavy. New blessings are heavy. New chapters require strength. And a restless heart cannot carry weight. So Allah settles you first. He slows your inner world. He quitte émotionnel noise. He remove constant urgency, because urgency clouds judgment. Urgency weakens patience. Urgency makes people rush into mistakes. Allah does not want you to enter your next chapter confused. So He teaches you how to be calm before He teaches you how to move. You may feel like life has paused, like things are not progressing, like answers are delayed. But inside, something important is happening. Your heart is learning to breathe. Your soul is learning to trust. You begin to sit with silence without feeling uncomfortable. You begin to spend time alone without feeling lonely. This is not isolation. This is preparation. Allah is teaching your heart that peace does not come from speed. It comes from alignment. You see, my dear brother, my dear sister, many people want Allah to change their situation, but they are not ready for the responsibility that comes with it. They want ease without maturity. They want growth without patience. So Allah, in His mercy, prepares the heart properly. He removes emotional chaos. You notice that you no longer argue as much. You no longer explain yourself unnecessarily. You no longer react to every small thing. This is not weakness. This is wisdom growing. Allah is making your heart stable, because stability is required before life shifts. A heart that reacts to everything cannot handle transformation. So Allah teaches you how to respond instead of react. He allows you to experience waiting. Not waiting with frustration, but waiting with calm. And this waiting is uncomfortable at first, because the ego wants action. The ego wants answers. The ego wants control. But Allah is training the soul. He is teaching you that not every delay is denial. Not every pause is punishment. Sometimes the pause is the preparation. You begin to notice that you trust Allah more easily now. You still make dua. You still hope, but your heart no longer shakes while waiting. This is a sign of settling. Allah is replacing anxiety with certainty. You may still not know what will happen next, but you trust that whatever happens will be guided. This trust is not forced. It grows naturally, because Allah is calming your inner storms. You see, my dear brother, my dear sister, a heart filled with noise cannot hear guidance. So Allah quiets the noise. He removes unnecessary worries. He reduces emotional overload. He helps you focus on what truly matters. And slowly, very slowly, your heart becomes a peaceful place. This peace is not excitement. It is readiness. It is the kind of calm that says, Allah is in control and I am okay. This is why you feel different, even though nothing has changed yet. Allah is making sure that when life finally shifts, you do not break under the weight. Because when Allah changes a life, He does not just change circumstances. He upgrades the heart. When Allah settles the heart, He is not making you passive. He is making you grounded. There is a big difference. A passive heart gives up. A settled heart stands firm. You begin to notice that even when uncertainty remains, your chest does not tighten the way it used to. The mind may still ask questions, but the heart does not panic. And this is very important, because panic blocks wisdom. Allah knows that if fear controls your heart, you will rush into choices that are not written for you. So He removes fear slowly. He teaches you to pause, to breathe, to wait without falling apart. This waiting is not empty. It is full of quiet strength. You begin to trust that silence has meaning. That delay has wisdom. That stillness has purpose. Before, silence made you uncomfortable. Now it feels safe. Before, waiting made you anxious. Now it feels normal. This is not coincidence. Allah is training you to remain steady, even when the ground beneath you is about to shift. Because when life changes, only a steady heart can walk forward without falling. You may notice that your priorities change. Things that once felt urgent no longer feel important. You protect your peace more carefully. You choose calm over argument. You choose clarity over chaos. This is Allah refining your focus. He is teaching you what deserves your energy and what does not. Because when destiny changes, distractions must fall away. Allah settles your heart so you do not carry unnecessary weight into your next chapter. You may also notice that you speak less, not because you have nothing to say, but because you no longer need to prove anything. You stop explaining your pain. You stop justifying your choices. You stop defending your growth. This is not arrogance. This is inner security. Allah has placed assurance in your heart that does not depend on validation. And this assurance is powerful. Because when Allah moves your life, there will be voices that do not understand. If your heart was not settled, those voices would shake you. But now, they pass through without leaving a mark. You also begin to accept yourself more. Your past no longer haunts you the same way. Your mistakes no longer define you. You learn from them without being imprisoned by them. This is healing. Allah does not want you to walk into your future carrying guilt from your past. So He settles the heart. He teaches you forgiveness, first for yourself, then for others. This forgiveness is not loud. It is quiet. It feels like release. You no longer replay old scenes. Late at night, you no longer argue with memories. Your mind becomes quieter. Your heart becomes lighter. And in that calm space, Allah places strength. Strength that does not shout. Strength that does not rush. Strength that does not need to dominate. It is the strength of trust. You may still feel moments of sadness. You may still feel moments of confusion. But these moments do not consume you. They visit, then they leave. And peace returns quickly. This is the sign of a settled heart. When Allah sees that your heart can remain calm in the middle of uncertainty, He knows you are ready. Ready to move, ready to receive, ready to carry what is coming. And when the shift finally happens, when the situation changes, when the door opens, when the chapter turns, you will notice something beautiful. You will not be shocked. You will not collapse. You will simply walk forward because Allah already prepared you. He settled your heart before He shifted your life. And that, my dear brother, my dear sister, is one of the greatest forms of mercy. When you stop forcing life, Allah starts guiding it. There comes a moment in life when the heart becomes tired of pushing, not tired of effort, but tired of forcing. You realize how long you have been trying to make things happen on your own, trying to control outcomes, trying to speed up answers, trying to hold situations together that keep slipping through your fingers. And slowly, very slowly, your heart begins to let go of the struggle. This is not giving up. This is wisdom. Allah never wanted you to carry the weight that belongs to Him. You were created to try, to make dua, to take steps, but you were never created to control destiny. And Allah knows that when a servant keeps forcing life, their heart becomes heavy. So Allah gently teaches you another way. He allows you to reach the point where pushing no longer brings peace, where trying harder only brings more exhaustion, where control starts to feel like a burden instead of strength. And this is where Allah begins guiding you more clearly. You notice that the more you stop forcing answers, the calmer your heart becomes. You still care. You still pray, you still act, but you no longer fight reality. You stop arguing with what is. You stop chasing what keeps running away. You stop begging doors that remain closed, not because you lost hope, but because you gained trust. My dear brother, my dear sister, forcing life comes from fear. Fear of being left behind, fear of missing out, fear of uncertainty. And Allah is very gentle with fearful hearts. He does not shame you for being afraid. He simply shows you that peace does not live in control. Peace lives in surrender. This surrender does not happen overnight. It grows quietly. You start saying, Allah knows best. And for the first time, your heart believes it. You begin to understand that not every delay is an obstacle. Some delays are direction. Some closed doors are protection. Some unanswered prayers are shaping better ones. When you stop forcing life, you create space for guidance, because guidance cannot enter a heart that is too busy resisting. You may notice that you react less now. Before, when things didn't go your way, your chest would tighten. Your thoughts would race. Now you pause. You breathe, you remind yourself that Allah is in control. This pause is powerful. It is the space where guidance enters. Allah speaks most clearly to hearts that are not shouting. And forcing is a form of shouting. It says, I know better. I need this now. I cannot wait. When you stop forcing, your heart says, Allah, you see what I cannot. Allah, you know what I do not. Allah, I trust your timing. And Allah loves this language because it is the language of tawakkul. You see, my dear brother, my dear sister, Allah does not guide hearts that demand outcomes. He guides hearts that trust direction. When you stop forcing a relationship, Allah shows you its truth. When you stop forcing a path, Allah reveals a better one. When you stop forcing yourself to fit, Allah shows you where you belong. This is why life feels lighter when you release control. You are no longer wrestling destiny. You are walking with it. And this does not mean life becomes easy immediately. Challenges might still exist. Questions may still remain. But your heart is no longer fighting every moment. You accept what you cannot change and you work with what you can. This balance is beautiful. Allah never asks you to carry tomorrow's weight today. So when you stop forcing life, you stop carrying unnecessary burdens. You sleep better. You think more clearly. You feel calmer. This calm is not laziness. It is alignment. Allah is aligning your effort with His plan. You begin to notice signs that you missed before. Small openings, gentle redirections, quiet opportunities. These signs were always there, but forcing blinded you. When the heart relaxes, the eyes begin to see. And Allah loves guiding servants who are not rushing past His signs. This is why surrender feels peaceful. It is not because you stopped caring. It is because you started trusting, and trust changes everything. Peace before proof is a sign that Allah is ahead of you. Sometimes Allah gives you peace before He gives you answers. And this confuses the heart. You expect clarity first. You expect proof first. You expect to see something change before you feel calm. But Allah, in His mercy, often does the opposite. He settles your heart while the situation still looks the same. Nothing has moved yet. No door has opened. No sign has appeared. Yet your chest feels lighter. You wake up calmer. You breathe easier. You worry less. And you ask yourself, why do I feel okay when nothing is resolved? My dear brother, my dear sister, this is not imagination. This is Allah. Allah sometimes places peace in your heart to prepare you for news you cannot see yet. Because if Allah waited until everything was visible, you would still be afraid. So He reassures you early. He lets your soul arrive before your eyes do. You see, Allah knows that the human heart struggles with the unseen. We want evidence. We want timelines. We want guarantees. But Allah teaches His servants to trust Him before understanding Him. That calm you feel while questions remain unanswered is not weakness. It is strength. It is Allah saying, my servant, I am already ahead of you. Sometimes Allah has already fixed the problem, but the solution has not reached you yet. Sometimes Allah has already written relief, but the timing has not arrived. So He sends peace first to protect your heart from fear. This peace does not come from logic. If you tried to explain it, you would struggle. Because peace before proof does not make sense to the mind, but it makes perfect sense to the soul. Allah knows that the heart can break while waiting. So He places calm inside you as a shield. You may still have moments of doubt. You may still ask questions, but they no longer control you. They pass through gently, and peace returns quickly. This is not coincidence. This is divine care. Allah does not want you to suffer emotionally while He is working behind the scenes. So He allows you to feel what is coming before it arrives. This peace is not excitement. It is reassurance. It is the kind of calm that whispers, everything will be okay, even when you cannot explain why. My dear brother, my dear sister, sometimes Allah hides the proof but reveals the peace. Because peace is enough to carry you through the waiting. Proof will come later. Clarity will come later. But peace is needed now. You may notice that your reactions change. Before, uncertainty made you panic. Now, it makes you patient. Before, silence made you anxious. Now, it feels safe. This is Allah changing your inner world. He is teaching you that not everything needs immediate answers. That not knowing does not mean being abandoned. That silence does not mean absence. Allah is very close in silence. He works quietly and He reassures softly. That is why this peace feels gentle. It does not shout. It does not demand attention. It simply sits in your heart and holds you steady. You may not realize it yet, but this peace is a sign that something has already shifted. Not outside, but in the unseen. Allah often completes His work before He announces it. And when Allah finishes something in the unseen, He gives the heart peace as an early sign. So you do not lose hope. So you do not fall apart. So you do not rush. You rest while Allah moves. And that rest is worship. Because trusting Allah without proof is one of the highest forms of faith. When Allah places peace in your heart before proof appears, He is teaching you a very deep lesson. He is teaching you how to live without needing to see everything. Because faith was never meant to depend on evidence alone. If faith needed proof first, there would be no test in this life. There would be no patience. There would be no trust. There would be no growth. So Allah gives peace early. Not to end the test, but to strengthen you through it. You may notice that even when problems still exist, they no longer dominate your thoughts. You think about them, but they don't sit on your chest. You acknowledge them, but they don't steal your sleep. This is not because you stopped caring. It is because Allah took over what you could not handle. Allah knows that the human heart can only carry so much. So when the burden becomes too heavy, He lightens the load before the road changes. This peace is Allah saying, leave this with me. And when Allah asks you to leave something with Him, it is not abandonment. It is protection. You see, my dear brother, media sister, if Allah allowed you to worry until the moment relief appeared, you would be exhausted by the time it arrived. So He prepares you to receive relief with a calm heart, because blessings are heavy too. Not everyone can handle answered prayers. Not everyone can handle change. Not everyone can handle relief. So Allah strengthens the heart first. This is why peace arrives before proof, because proof without peace can overwhelm the soul. Peace creates space. Space for gratitude, space for humility, space for understanding. You may feel moments of confusion. You may ask, why do I feel calm when nothing makes sense? And that question itself is a sign. It means Allah has touched your heart. He has reassured you without words. He has held you without explanation. This is not something logic can give. This is something only Allah can place. And once Allah places it, no situation can remove it. You may still face delays. You may still face uncertainty, but your heart remains steady. This steadiness is powerful. It means fear no longer controls your decisions. You stop making choices from panic. You stop reacting out of desperation. You move with patience. And patience attracts guidance. Allah guides those whose hearts are calm enough to listen. When panic is loud, guidance is quiet. So Allah quiet panic before He speaks. You may also notice that your dua changes. Before, your dua was filled with urgency. Now it is filled with trust. You still ask, but you no longer beg. You still hope, but you no longer fear disappointment. This is a very high level of faith. It is the level where you say, Allah, I trust you more than I trust outcomes. And Allah loves this heart because it is sincere, because it is humble, because it knows its limits. My dear brother, my dear sister, peace before proof means Allah is already ahead of you. He has seen what you cannot see. He has planned what you cannot imagine. He has arranged what you are still worrying about. And He sends peace as a message, not written, not spoken, felt deep in the chest, felt in quiet moments. Felt when you stop fighting sleep. This peace is not permanent excitement. It is quiet confidence. Confidence that says, even if I don't understand now, Allah understands completely. And when the proof finally arrives, when the door opens, when the answer becomes clear, when the situation changes, you will realize something beautiful. Allah was not late. He was careful. He was protecting your heart while preparing your future. And that peace you felt early, it was not false comfort. It was an invitation to trust, an invitation to rest, an invitation to believe before seeing. And that, my dear brother, my dear sister, is how Allah walks ahead of you while gently holding your heart so you never walk alone. There comes a moment when you realize that this peace Allah placed inside you is not fragile. It does not disappear when doubts pass by. It does not collapse when fear whispers. It stays. And this is when you begin to understand that Allah did not give you peace to comfort you only for a moment. He gave it to anchor you, because what is coming will require steadiness. You see, Allah never gives peace randomly. He gives it with purpose. When Allah places peace in your heart, before proof appears, He is preparing you to walk forward without hesitation. This peace teaches you how to live without constantly checking outcomes. You stop asking, is it happening yet? Has it changed yet? Did Allah answer me yet? Not because you stopped hoping, but because hope has become calm. You still trust Allah, but you no longer demand timelines. And this is powerful, because timelines belong to Allah alone. You may notice that when others panic, you remain steady. When others rush, you slow down. When others complain, you stay quiet. Not because you are better, but because Allah has strengthened your inner world. This peace becomes a filter. It filters what deserves your attention and what does not. You stop giving your energy to every fear that knocks. You stop reacting to every uncertainty that appears. You choose stillness. And stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is where Allah works. In that stillness, your heart becomes sensitive to guidance. You begin to notice small signs, gentle nudges, quiet reminders. They were always there, but fear used to drown them out. Now you can hear them. You see, Allah speaks most clearly to a calm heart. A heart that is shouting cannot hear whispers. So Allah silenced the shouting first. This is why peace came early. You may still walk through challenges. You may still face moments where the road feels long, but you walk differently now. You do not drag fear behind you. You do not carry panic in your chest. You walk with quiet confidence. Not confidence in yourself, but confidence in Allah. And this changes everything, because when your trust is in Allah, nothing feels wasted. Delays feel meaningful. Waiting feels purposeful. Silence feels intentional. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start feeling, Allah is guiding me through this. This shift is not loud, it is gentle. It shows up in how you speak, how you respond, how you rest. Your words become softer, your reactions become slower, your heart becomes lighter. This is Allah refining you. You are no longer the same person who needed proof to feel safe. You are becoming the person who feels safe, because Allah is near. And nearness to Allah is the greatest security. When the proof finally appears, and it will appear, you will not be shocked. You will not say, I didn't expect this. You will say, I felt this coming, because Allah already introduced it to your heart. Peace was the introduction. Proof was the confirmation. And even if the proof comes in a form you did not expect, you will still be okay, because your peace was never tied to the shape of the answer. It was tied to the presence of Allah. My dear brother, my dear sister, if Allah has given you peace while you are still waiting, do not question it. Do not overthink it. Do not fear it. Receive it, because Allah does not calm a heart. He plans to abandon. He calms the heart. He plans to lead. And if your heart is calm right now, even in the middle of uncertainty, then trust this. Allah is not behind you. Allah is not catching up. Allah is already ahead of you, and He is gently guiding you toward what is written without letting fear break you along the way. When fear leaves your heart, destiny is near. There is a very quiet moment in a believer's life when fear slowly begins to loosen its grip. Not all at once, not dramatically, just gently. You may not even notice it at first. You still face uncertainty. You still don't know exactly what will happen next. Life still asks questions you cannot answer. Yet your heart no longer trembles the way it used to. Before, fear lived in your chest. It tightened your breath. It rushed your thoughts. It kept you awake at night. Now, it visits less often. And when it comes, it does not stay. This is not because life became easier. It is because Allah strengthened your heart. Fear does not leave on its own. Fear leaves when Allah decides that your heart is ready for what is coming. You see, fear is not always bad. Fear protects us from danger. Fear keeps us careful. But fear also delays destiny when it becomes the master of the heart. Allah knows this. So before destiny moves closer, Allah removes fear gently, because a heart filled with fear will resist the very thing Allah is trying to give it. That is why Allah does not bring destiny to a panicked heart. He brings destiny to a steady one. You may notice that things that once scared you no longer control your decision. Before, fear decided where you stayed. Before, fear decided what you avoided. Before, fear decided what you delayed. Now, fear no longer holds the pen. You still feel cautious. You still think carefully, but you are no longer frozen. This is a very important shift, because destiny does not arrive to hearts that are stuck. It arrives to hearts that are willing to move. And Allah, in His mercy, removes fear before movement is required. You may find yourself saying things like, whatever Allah writes will be best. If it works, alhamdulillah. If it doesn't, Allah knows why. And this is not something you are forcing yourself to say. It feels natural. This is how you know fear is leaving. When trust begins to speak louder than worry. Fear often says, what if it goes wrong? What if I lose? What if I regret this? But trust says, what if Allah is protecting me? What if Allah is leading me? What if this is exactly what I need? And when trust begins to win these conversations, fear quietly steps aside. You see, my dear brother, my dear sister, fear leaves the heart. When the heart becomes familiar with Allah's care, after everything you have survived, after everything Allah has already carried you through, your heart slowly realizes something. Allah has never abandoned you. And once the heart truly understands this, fear weakens. You may still face new situations. You may still stand at new doors, but you no longer feel the urge to run away. You feel calm curiosity instead of panic. You feel readiness instead of resistance. This calm does not mean you know the outcome. It means you trust the guide. Allah is teaching your heart that safety does not come from certainty. It comes from reliance. And reliance removes fear one layer at a time. This is why you may notice that even big decisions no longer terrify you. You think, you pray, you wait, but you are not drowning in anxiety. This is Allah's work, because destiny often requires courage, and courage cannot live in a heart ruled by fear. So Allah prepares you. He does not drop destiny suddenly and say, be brave. He removes fear first. So bravery feels natural. You may not see destiny yet, but fear leaving your heart is already a sign that Allah is aligning you with what is written. Fear leaves because fear is no longer needed. The heart has matured, the soul has learned, the trust has deepened, and Allah knows that when fear no longer blocks the path, movement becomes possible. This is why fear leaving your heart feels peaceful, not empty. You do not feel careless. You feel confident. Not confident in yourself, but confident in Allah. And that is the strongest confidence of all. When fear leaves the heart, Allah does not replace it with carelessness. He replaces it with courage. A very quiet courage. Not the kind that shouts, I am ready for anything, but the kind that whispers, whatever comes, Allah will carry me through. This courage feels different. It does not rush you. It does not pressure you. It does not push you to prove anything. It simply allows you to move without trembling. You begin to notice that decisions no longer feel paralyzing. Before, you needed certainty before every step. You needed reassurance from people. You needed signs to be very loud. Now, you take steps with calm prayer. You say, Allah, I have done my best. I leave the rest with you. And your heart accepts this. Fear leaves because trust has taken its place. You are no longer afraid of being disappointed because you understand something very important. Even disappointment is guided. Even loss has wisdom. Even delay has protection. This understanding changes how you walk through life. You no longer avoid growth just because it feels uncomfortable. You no longer stay stuck just because the unknown feels scary. You begin to move with purpose, not panics. This is when destiny begins to draw near, because destiny does not arrive to hearts that are constantly looking back. It arrives to hearts that are facing forward. Fear always pulls the heart backward. It reminds you of past pain. It replays old wounds. It warns you of what might happen. But when fear leaves, the past loosens its grip. You remember it, but it no longer controls you. And this freedom is powerful. Allah removes fear so you can step into what is written without dragging old chains. You may notice that your dua changes again. Before, you prayed for safety from pain. Now, you pray for strength to walk through Allah's plan. You say things like, Allah, guide me to what is best. Allah, make me strong enough for what you choose. This is a sign of deep readiness. It means your heart trusts Allah's choices more than its own preferences. And Allah loves a heart like this because it is humble, because it is open, because it is no longer ruled by fear. You may still feel nervous sometimes. This is human. But fear no longer controls your direction. It no longer decides your future. It no longer stops you from becoming who Allah is shaping you to be. This is when opportunities appear, not always loudly, not always dramatically, sometimes as a quiet chance, sometimes as a subtle opening, sometimes as a simple step forward. And because fear is no longer blocking your vision, you recognize them. You do not overthink. You do not freeze. You move slowly, calmly, with trust, and Allah guides your steps. This is why fear leaving the heart is one of the strongest signs that destiny is near, because Allah never brings destiny to a heart that will collapse under it. He prepares you first. He strengthens you first. He removes fear first. So when destiny finally arrives, it does not crush you. It fits you. It feels heavy but manageable. It feels new but familiar, because Allah already trained your heart. My dear brother, my dear sister, if fear has been leaving your heart lately, do not rush to fill the space. Do not question it. Do not assume something is wrong. This space is sacred. It is where courage grows. It is where destiny draws closer. It is where Allah prepares you to receive what you once feared you were not ready for. And when the moment comes and your life finally shifts, you will realize something beautiful. Allah did not remove fear to make you reckless. He removed fear because you were finally ready to trust Him completely. And when trust is complete, destiny no longer needs to wait. When fear leaves your heart, you begin to notice something very gentle happening inside you. You stop rehearsing disasters that have not happened. You stop living 10 steps ahead in your mind. You stop preparing for pain that Allah never wrote. Your thoughts slow down. Your breath becomes deeper. Your heart feels steady even when the path is not clear. This steadiness is not because you suddenly became strong on your own. It is because Allah placed strength inside you. Fear leaves when the heart finally learns that Allah has never failed it. You look back at your life and realize how many moments once terrified you but later became lessons. How many nights you cried thinking you would not survive what was coming. Yet here you are, breathing, standing, still believing, and something shifts inside you. Your heart quietly says, if Allah carried me through all of that, He will carry me through this too. This realization is powerful. It changes how you face the future. You stop seeing uncertainty as danger. You start seeing it as space for Allah to work. You stop seeing change as loss. You start seeing it as movement. And with this change in vision, fear has nowhere to stay. Fear needs doubt to survive. Fear needs forgetfulness. But once the heart remembers Allah's care, fear weakens. You may still feel nervous before big moments. You may still feel unsure before big steps. But the fear no longer controls you. It no longer tells you to hide. It no longer tells you to shrink. It no longer tells you to stay small. Instead, your heart says, Allah is with me. Whatever happens will not break me. This is not arrogance. This is faith maturing. You stop asking Allah to remove every challenge. You ask Him to walk with you through them. And Allah answers by removing fear, because fear is not needed. When trust is strong, this is why destiny feels closer now. Because your heart is no longer blocking it. Fear once acted like a wall that said, I am not ready. I cannot handle this. I might fail. But now that wall is gone. And destiny does not need to push. It simply flows. You may notice that you are less attached to how things must happen. You are open. You are flexible. You are guided. You stop insisting on specific outcomes and start trusting divine wisdom. This openness invites blessings Because Allah guides those who are not gripping life with fear. You walk lighter. You speak with more calm. You listen more deeply. Your presence becomes peaceful. And people may even feel it around you. They may say, "You've changed. You seem calmer. You seem stronger." And you may not even know how to explain it. Because this change did not come from effort. It came from surrender. Allah removed fear because fear was no longer serving you. It had taught you caution. It had protected you for a time. But now it was holding you back. So Allah gently asked it to leave. And in its place, He planted courage. Not loud courage. Not dramatic courage. Quiet courage. The courage to say yes when Allah opens a door. The courage to walk forward even when the road is unfamiliar. The courage to trust without seeing the full picture. And when destiny finally arrives, in whatever form Allah chooses, you will meet it with calm, not shock, not panic, but recognition. Your heart will say, "This feels heavy, but I am ready." Because Allah never brings destiny before the heart can carry it. And if fear has been leaving you lately, if your heart has been calming, even while life remains uncertain, then trust this deeply. Allah is not taking something away. He is making space. Space for courage. Space for growth. Space for destiny. And when destiny arrives, you will not need fear anymore. Because Allah Himself will be walking with you. If your peace has changed, your life will follow. There is a truth many people do not understand. Allah does not change lives first. He changes hearts first. Because a life can move quickly, but a heart needs preparation. And the clearest sign that Allah is about to move your life is not what happens outside of you. It is what happens inside you. Your peace changes, not suddenly, not loudly, but deeply. You may wake up one day and realize that the things which once disturbed you no longer shake you the same way. The same problems may exist, the same questions may remain, yet your heart feels calmer. And this calm is not laziness, it is not denial, it is not you not caring anymore. It is Allah realigning you. Many people wait for life to change before they allow their heart to rest. Allah does the opposite. He allows your heart to rest so life can change without breaking you. You see, my dear brother, my dear sister, if Allah changed your life suddenly, while your heart was still restless, you would panic, you would doubt, you would rush, you would ruin the blessing with fear. So Allah, in His mercy, changes your peace first. He removes emotional noise. You stop replaying old conversations. You stop overthinking every outcome. You stop worrying about every tomorrow. Not because everything is fixed, but because Allah took charge. And when Allah takes charge, the heart feels it. This peace does not mean that hardship has ended. It means hardship no longer owns you. You may still face uncertainty. You may still walk through difficulty, but your heart is no longer fighting every moment. This is a very important sign, because when peace changes, your reactions change. And when reactions change, decisions change. And when decisions change, life follows. You see, Allah does not always move people. Sometimes He moves perspective. And when perspective moves, everything else follows naturally. You begin to choose calm over chaos, silence over arguments, trust over control. These choices feel natural now. Before, you had to force patience. Before, you had to remind yourself to trust. Now, trust feels like the default. This is Allah's work. Because peace is not created by effort, it is placed by Allah. And when Allah places peace, it stays even when storms pass by. You may still feel emotions. You may still feel sadness sometimes. But emotions no longer drown you. They visit, then they leave. Peace returns quickly. This tells you something powerful. It tells you that your heart is no longer living in survival mode. Allah removed that state. Because survival mode is not meant to be permanent. It is meant to teach, not to imprison. When peace changes, you stop living as if disaster is around every corner. You stop bracing yourself for loss. You stop expecting disappointment. Instead, you walk gently through life. Not careless, but confident. This confidence does not come from knowing the future. It comes from knowing Allah is with you. And this is where destiny begins to shift, because destiny cannot move when the heart is trapped in fear. So Allah frees the heart first. You may notice that you no longer chase closure. You no longer need explanations from people. You no longer need every story to end neatly. You accept that Allah knows what you do not. This acceptance creates space, and space invites change. Allah does not pour new destiny into a crowded heart. He empties it first. That emptiness you once feared, that quiet you once avoided, it becomes peaceful. And peace creates capacity. Capacity for growth, capacity for blessing, capacity for responsibility. You see, my dear brother, me dear sister, not all peace feels joyful. Some peace feels like neutrality, like you are no longer high, but no longer low. This is balance. Allah is stabilizing you, because emocional extremis cannot handle destiny. If Allah gave you what you asked for while your heart was unstable, you would cling too tightly, or you would fear losing it constantly. So Allah balances you first. It removes desperation. You still want good things, but you are not begging life anymore. You still hope, but you are not panicking. This is a huge sign, because desperation delays destiny. Peace invites it. You may notice that when others rush, you wait. When others panic, you stay quiet. When others complain, you breathe and move on. This is not because you are disconnected. It is because you are anchored in trust, anchored in Allah. And when the heart is anchored, life can move freely. You stop resisting what Allah is doing. You stop fighting the flow. You stop forcing outcomes. And this surrender is not weakness. It is strength refined. You see, surrender does not mean you stop trying. It means you stop fighting Allah. And when you stop fighting Allah, life begins to cooperate. Doors open gently. People shift naturally. Paths align quietly, not always dramatically. Sometimes slowly, but steadily. And you may not even realize at first that life is changing. Because the change feels smooth, it does not shock you. Because Allah prepared your heart, you respond differently now. You speak differently, you choose differently. And those differences shape your future. My dear brother, my dear sister, if your peace has changed lately, if your heart feels calmer, even though life has not fully explained itself, if you are no longer panicking about things that once terrified you, then trust this. Allah has already started moving your life. He just began from the inside. If you stayed until this moment, I want you to listen very carefully. Not with your ears, but with your heart. The calm you feel right now is not because your problems disappeared. It is because Allah stepped in. Allah does not calm a heart. He plans to leave confused. He calms the heart. He plans to move. If your peace changed before your situation did, that was not weakness. That was Allah saying, my servant, I am ahead of you. You may not see the full path yet. You may not understand the timing yet, but understand this. Allah never prepares a heart for nothing. He never removes fear without replacing it with guidance. He never creates silence unless something meaningful is about to speak. If tonight you feel lighter, even with unanswered questions, then trust this deeply. What Allah is removing was never meant to follow you forward. And what Allah is preparing will arrive in a way your heart can finally carry. Do not rush, do not force. Do not doubt this calm, because Allah does not calm a heart right before abandoning it. He calms it right before changing its story. If this message reached you, make a qiyat dua right now. Not asking for speed, but asking for trust, and then leave the rest to Allah. He has never failed you before, and He will not start now.